All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some Yankees updates as usual because the season's about to start. And of course, there's updates that we got to talk about. Some LPDS universe updates, and then a nice little Cage fact for you guys. All that's coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, the show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything. We have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. If you're watching the video version of this, there may be some very strange buffering and delay issues that are inexplicable to me because my knowledge and capability ceiling on the video side of the house right now has peaked. My ceiling has peaked. That doesn't make any sense. I have reached my current ceiling with ability and knowledge on the video side of the tech world. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the stuff that I do know about requires different technology, which requires money, which is something that I'm not using right now on this stuff. My money is tied up in other investments right now in life. So I am still using, my iPhone as the camera, and I could record video on the phone itself and then send that video to my computer to do the edits and stuff, and then the audio separately. Obviously, that's what I do when I'm on road trips. I record on the phone, but I like to see myself live while I'm recording. So when I use the phone as a webcam, I can see the screen, the picture, the video on my screen while it's happening. So that's why I'm seeing delays while I'm recording, like buffering and stuff like that. And I can also center myself, check the definition, make sure it's clear, make sure the lighting is good enough, things like that I appreciate doing. Now I can use the front camera like I do on the road trips when I record road trip episodes, but the iPhone has a legit camera on the back. So I prefer using that camera for recording. So unfortunately, I can't. If I flip it to use the front camera, sure, I can see myself in the phone itself when I'm looking at it, but I'm not using the best camera the phone has to offer. So why would I be using that? The technology at that point is moot because I'm not using the best version. So anyway, I'm rambling because it's just frustrating that I'm frustrated with myself a little bit that I still can't figure out the best way forward without having to buy a better dedicated camera, which is something I don't want to do right now. And I wish I had a little bit more knowledge and wherewithal. Maybe there's a software program out there that works better. Maybe there's an upgrade or an app I can download on my phone that makes it a better webcam. There was an iPhone app that you can use for this exact sort of thing, but the last one I used, there was no update to it, so it wasn't working on the new iPhone versions and the new MacBook and new computer version. So I haven't gone back to check, and I haven't really taken the time to go back and check and see if there is an updated version of it, because my priorities have been elsewhere. Not that I don't have the time, I'm just choosing not to use the time that I have. So because of all that, sometimes you get buffering and delays and bullshittery going on, so I apologize for that. But if you're listening on iTunes and Spotify's, no issues. Welcome. Hope everybody had a good week. Mine was pretty good. Busy. By the time this episode comes out, I've already been, a week out of my root canal, and we're making through. We'll talk about that in the junction. But first, I really want to talk about to get this over with, just to get this over with. Some Yankee updates for you guys. That's what I really want to talk about very quickly, and then we'll get right into the good stuff because we got to get through the bad. Okay, we got to get through the hot-headedness and all the negativity and all that crap that we try to eliminate with the big three. We got to get through that stuff quickly. We can't dwell on it. But for all the Yankee fans out there, I'm sure you've heard Garrett Cole. I believe it's now confirmed that he's going to be out for the season with Tommy John surgery. Their number one pitcher out. I believe their Rookie of the Year pitcher Louis Heel is also hurt. I don't know I can't confirm that because I saw just some quick blurbs about it. I didn't look into it. And then their next pitchers are Clark Schmidt and Stroman. Who else? I'm trying to think of other starting pitchers that they have. Can't remember. That's how not impactful they are. Can't remember them. Oh, the lefty, Rodon. Is he hurt? Probably. Guy pitches 125 pitches in 4 innings every time he goes out there. I'm sure his arm's been tired. So it's only a matter of time before his chronic back injury comes back as well. No pun intended. So this stuff's just frustrating because this is the stuff we talked about previously. That the Yankees recruiting staff, the GM, they don't care to plan for contingencies. Injuries are going to happen. I'm not mad about the injuries. I'm bummed, obviously. But it's not one of those things where it's like, I'm not mad at Garrett Cole for getting hurt. I'm like, you did this to us. No, it's not his fault. He got hurt. Injuries happen. You're playing 162 games a year, and then you're training in the offseason. There's a reason why Cal Ripken and Lou Gehrig are revered in the league for their record of the 2 longest streaks of consecutive games started. Because that doesn't happen. Even with healthy guys, they give them rest now. More rest than I would like. Too much rest, in my opinion, for some of these folks. But they give them days off, like games off, I should say. Because everybody has days off. You know, they're not playing every single day for 162 days straight. But, Aaron Judge gets every third game. He gets a game off or whatever that stupid thing is, the schedule they have him on. So I get all that's to say, I get it. Injuries happen. It's tough. It's tough to go out there and play every day and not get hurt. I understand that completely. But that's baseball. Okay? And you understand that going in. And you would think the team leadership, the staff, the GM would know that going in. And they don't seem to care because they never, ever plan for inevitable injuries. They never plan for them. And they know they're going to happen. Brian Cashman came out and ratted himself out last season when he was dogging on Stanton, saying, well, we know he's going to get hurt, so we have to, we signed Verdugo on this for, to pick up this, well, whatever the reason he said it was. So he knows injuries are going to happen. Guess what? Stan's hurt again. Shocker. Regular season Stan. Can't stay in a lineup. Poor bastard. Now the pitchers are hurt. Starting pitcher. They made a couple of moves. Oh, they have Max Fried. Is he a starter? Yeah, so there you go. There's one. And they still don't have a replacement for Heel, a good one anyway. They don't have a pickup. They didn't get any starters for Nestor, if I remember correctly. So I don't know. I don't know the pitching staff nearly as well as others. Probably the creature knows better, so he can correct me if I'm off base on this. He can correct me for sure. I know they got some decent relievers. They got the guy from Milwaukee, relief pitcher, closing pitcher, I think too. So that's all well and good, but this is in general. This is what the Yankees have been doing lately. It happened last year, the year before that. They don't have depth of their team at all. I mean, I guess technically you could say they have depth because they have a whole bunch of guys. Ooh, my power almost went out. Did you see that, folks? We still recording? Yeah, power was out. That was weird. Anyway, they have a whole bunch of guys that could bat 212 to 250 with 150 strikeouts. So they have a whole bunch of guys that can do that. They have one guy who can consistently bat 300. That's not great. And then everybody else. And they have playoff Stanton, who hopefully gets healed by playoff time if they make the playoffs. And this is what they do. All right, another tech issue. Very windy out here, folks. It's very windy today for some reason, and I guess it temporarily cut. I told you, you heard me before. It's like, oh, the power almost went out. Well, it cut it very quickly for half a second, cut my internet, and it cut the recording while I was doing it. Luckily, the recording saved because that's 12 minutes I'll have to redo. And I don't like redoing stuff. Then it feels too scripted and inauthentic. Is that a word? Unauthentic, inauthentic, not genuine. And I want to get my rage out there genuinely. So anyway, we were talking about this is what the Yankees do. They just hope the rest of the league stinks so that when the Yankees players get hurt and they have to put in their double stinky players, it still won't be as bad. They still have a chance to make the playoffs, and that's all they care about is the chance to make the playoffs, to shut the fans up and say, hey, we made the playoffs. Everything else after this is a crapshoot. It's the same song and dance. That's what pisses me off each and every year for the past 10, 15 years, since 2009, however long that's been. The same song and dance. We only care about making money and doing just enough to shut the fans up while we swim in piles of cash that these stupid idiot fans are paying us. It's crazy. And then when they do spend money on players, it's on the stupidest deals that you've seen. Luckily, they didn't get Juan Soto for that deal. They offered him $760 million. Now, again, I don't want to. I'm not pretending that Soto stinks and I hate him now because he's on the Mets. I still love Soto and I want him to be on the Yankees. But anybody who paid that guy that much money is a sucker. And good for Soto for taking that money because he knew that was a sucker's bet. Damn, this video keeps going in and out. Sorry, folks, if you're still watching. Stupid video. But man, is that a sucker's bet to spend that much money on that guy. You will not recoup that in his career. He is not that kind of guy. He's going to bat 280, which is, again, great for the Yankees. That's the second best batting average on the team if he was on the Yankees. He's going to bat 270 to 290, and he'll hit 25 to 40 home runs. Pretty solid numbers. Decent, solid numbers. It's not $765 million contract numbers, though. That's crazy. And the Yankees were willing to give him that. They've also spent how many millions of dollars on regular season Soto? or a regular season Stan, excuse me. They should have paid that guy league minimum in the regular season, and then you get $20 million for the playoffs only each season. Because playoff Stanton is worth 20, 30, 40 million a season. In my opinion. Regular season Stanton is not worth a hot dog and a beer at the game. And I love Stanton. And it's tough to say that, but regular season Stanton can't figure it out. Can't even play the field or run. How are you a professional athlete and you have a no run stipulation? Can't run. Why not? I said I can't run. What's the problem? It's under my birth certificate, it just says can't run. Like, what are your medical issues? Can't run. That's it. I was not built to run. That's it. That's all it says. That's all you can explain. That's all anybody ever explains it. So I just don't understand how they keep Brian Cashman around anymore. He either cheaps out and doesn't make a move on the players that'll actually help the team win a World Series, or he pisses money away on these stupid moves or on over-the-hill guys, inconsistent players, relief pitchers. They almost set the stage when they signed Zach Britton years ago. They almost set the stage for overpaying for relief pitchers. And they got like 6 games out of Zach Britton before he got hurt or he got bent over on the mound because he stunk it up. I don't remember him having more than one good outing for the Yankees when he played for them. I don't even know what he's doing now. Is he still playing? Is he done? What's going on with that guy? Millions of dollars out the window for him. And not to mention the fact that their coaching staff and their trainers ruin players as well. Their developmental team leagues ruins players, ruins prospects. Their whole operation is not set up one bit for success. I don't know in this day and age of any player with half a brain and some talent who wants to sign with the Yankees these days. I guess that's why they have to offer these mediocre players big money, because that's the only way we're going to get them now. And maybe that's why Cashman doesn't even waste his time offering good players anything, because he knows, they're not going to play for us. We have no chance. This is not the place to play for players who want to develop and get better and win championships. This is not it anymore. We ruin prospects. We care about unimportant players and unimportant talent and overrated players. And we stink on top of it. We don't teach any fundamentals of baseball. We don't care if you know how to play baseball. We just want you to be able to uppercut and try to hit home runs in right field at Yankee Stadium. And it's okay if you strike out 200 times. We don't care about that either. Now I know I'm just rattling off a bunch of bullshit and venting, and there's a lot more to it. This conversation is much more nuanced, but this is just a rant. This is just the rantings of a lunatic right now. So I understand there's not going to be a lot of you could poke holes in my rantings right now. God, I could poke holes in it too. Just let me rant. Just let me vent and be pissed off, because this is the true statement. The Yankees are not a World Series competing team again this year. And that's what pisses me off, is because they have opportunities to get close to that, to work towards it, at least show the fans, hey, we're trying to be a competitive team in the World Series, and they continue to not do that. We could not have been more right about the team last year. We could not have been more correct. And I didn't want to be correct. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted the Yankees to win the World Series. Get trophy number 28. I always want that. But we said it from the jump. As soon as they have to play a good team, they're going to fall apart. And that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. They fell apart against a good team in the World Series. And it's so frustrating to see it because it's like we knew it was coming. And if we knew it's coming, why didn't they know it was coming? Or they just didn't care. And that's what pisses me off, is that they can't be that stupid. Are you that stupid or you just not care? I don't know what's worse. But holy crap, is it frustrating. So anyway, the number one pitcher's out for the year. The team is already falling apart. The season hasn't started, and they're on crutches. It's crazy. And I don't want to hear any fan. I don't want to hear you on social media. I don't want to see you commenting. Oh, this is when the Yankees post one video of somebody doing something good. Oh, that's my Yankees. That's my team. We're doing it this year. Number 28, baby. Shut up. Okay? You're the reason why Cashman and the team are getting away with this still. Because they know suckers like you are going to keep spending money on merch and tickets and food and crap. And that's all they care about. So, as long as we keep the idiots happy, which is clearly not too difficult to do, because the Yankees haven't been a competitor, a discussion point since 2009. You can argue, 2017, 2018, I forgot what year it was. 2017, they had the chance and got cheated out of it. That was a team that I could have seen. They could have competed in the World Series to actually win that series. That was it. And that was the luck of the draw, honestly, because that was supposed to be part of their rebuilding phase, because it was all a bunch of newbies. And they got lucky. Everybody was firing at the same time that season, which is good. I liked it. I liked what I saw that season. Unfortunately, 8 of the 9 guys that were firing on all cylinders were flashes in the pan. And ended up stinking it up and not being worth it. And they missed that loophole there. Or not that loophole, that window of opportunity. But that was it. Name me another team where you can honestly say this team really had a chance. I thought this was the year that they could have done it. A couple things didn't go their way. No. You can't say 2024. I know they made it to the World Series, but you can't say that because they had a dogfight every game against mediocre teams in the American League. They should have swept the Royals. They should have swept the Indians or the Guardians, whatever. Swept them. Yeah, the Guardians had a better bullpen, for sure. But the Yankees were a better team than them overall. Which is not saying much because I thought the Yankees stunk. That's how bad the league was. That's how bad the American League was. They should have swept those teams, and then they got dog walked by the Dodgers. Don't give me that whole, it was close in the first game until the end where they gave up the walk-off. How did they get to the walk-off? Do you remember how they got to the walk-off? Shitty managing, poor performance when the time needed it to be. And the same, 2 guys contributing and actually making a difference. So it was basically Soto and playoff Stan. And Cole did okay. Did Cole pitch that game? I think so. I don't remember. Yeah, I think he did okay. Good enough. And then they took him out early. Shitty managing. When the opportunity actually arises for Aaron Boone to actually manage and make his own decisions and not have to be the puppet to the front office during like he is during the regular season, he shit the bed. Oh, close first game. Shut up. Oh, they won one game, a complete nothing game. The series was 3-0, and the Dodgers didn't give a shit about that game. They could have put anybody in. They wouldn't have cared. So don't give me that crap about it was closer than it looked. It wasn't. I watched the game. I watched every pitch of that series. It wasn't close at all. The Mets versus the Dodgers was a way better series, in my opinion. Way better. That's all I gotta say. I can't talk about it anymore. That's all I gotta say about that. I can't talk about it anymore. It's just malarkey. It's just absolute malarkey every time. There hasn't been a good update yet. I haven't seen a good update yet. So we're just gonna move on. We're gonna cut it there. Cut it. End it. Talk about good stuff now. Positive vibes only now, folks. We'll get into the good stuff finally. Let's step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by the popular new board game Slurred Speech. Slurred Speech is the all-new family game night hit where you are given a card with a type of person on it and you have to come up with an all-new creative way to describe them. For example, you may get a card with an Italian fella on it, and if you call out garlic mincers and your partner guesses Italian guy or Italians, you get the points. The team with the most points at the end wins, and you get to go home with a list of all new names to use at the office without HR getting on your back about it. So to cause havoc in your family or friends group today, pick up Slurred Speech at www.kanyewest.com and use the promo code SugarTasters for 29% off your board game, your card game. I guess it's a card game, not a board game, because you get cards with a person on it, and then you got to come up with a name for that person, and then somebody has to guess who you're talking about. So I guess it's a card game, I guess, not a board game, because there's no board. You're not moving pieces around. You're just getting points. It's like Taboo. I guess that's a card. I guess that's technically a card game. Cards Against Humanity is technically a card game. So card game, not board game, card game. Still good for family game night. I think it would be fun. Don't know if I would use a credit card to buy it though, unless you buying it as a joke for somebody. Anyway, sponsors are getting rough, folks. Cage fact. This is a nice little Cage update for everybody, and once again, folks, the LPDS called it right. 2 weeks ago or several weeks ago, we talked about Nic Cage's ex suing Nic Cage for enabling their son Weston to to assault the mother. I believe you're all tracking that. If you're not, Nic Cage's one of his sons, Weston Cage, was arrested and charged with assaulting his mother, physically assaulting in an altercation they had. And she was suing Weston. He's going to trial too, but she's also suing him. And then she was suing Nic Cage because as the father, he enabled the behavior to cause this and that, whatever, and the other thing. Well, we predicted then when we first reported that this was ball wash, this was a ploy for money, this is not serious at all, and that it would likely be dropped. Well, guess what? It was dropped. Nic Cage has been officially dropped from that lawsuit, so she's only going after her son now in the lawsuit and no longer going after Nic Cage. And it comes to find out, some information came to light here. Because the big push, the big reason why she was suing Nic Cage was, he enabled his behavior. He knew that he had problems and substance abuse issues, and he would constantly take him out drinking and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And this is what led to him having an episode and being violent with me. Now, I am not condoning assault by any means. Weston Cage should be investigated and tried for this assault. If he did it, he should be punished justly for it. Absolutely. But you don't bring in people just for the money grab. I know you're a hurting victim and you're trying to deal with the fact that it was your own son who did this, and I imagine how tough that's going to be. And I imagine you're in emotional turmoil as it is, so you're probably just listening to your lawyer who's like, add on your ex, and we could try to get more money. I'm sure you could probably that's probably something similar to what happened. I would imagine. But you don't do that. You got to take the LPDS step back and realize we're not gonna try to ruin somebody else's life who really has nothing to do with this. And it came to light that Weston Cage, the son, actually changed therapists recently who put him on different drugs, and he had very adverse side effects from it and had a violent episode during this fight. He had this altercation with his mother, and that is what led to him sort of relapsing in his rehabilitation, I guess you can say. This is not an excuse for it doesn't justify what happened, what he did. Again, I'm not trying to get canceled here or have somebody get pissed at me saying like, "Oh, it's a victim's fault." It's not. It's his fault. But the connection is not because of his father. That's what I'm defending NC here. It's not because of his father. Now, it did come out that he went to this new therapist on the insistence of his mother, who told him, go to this new therapist, stop going to the other one, go to this one. And he went to that one, and she did this with him, and then indirectly this is what ended up happening. So if she wants to sue anybody else, she should add herself onto the lawsuit as the enabler. And that's why she dropped the lawsuit, because she realized if I'm suing my ex for enabling, he can easily, just like we said, he can easily countersue me for the same thing, and actually he would have more evidence to go off of to back him in his corner than she does right now, that she did against NC. So if you're following all this, good work. If you're not following, I apologize. I'm crazy brain going off on tangents here. But long story longer, she realized, oh, I don't have a case. I'm opening myself up to countersuit and losing a lot of money and time and being more stressed when I really just want this to be done. So they dropped the charges, or they dropped the suit against NC, against Nic Cage. And I really wish DraftKings or FanDuel or somebody would add some sort of prop bets in their sports book for LPDS predictions. So you guys can ride or fade the LPDS picks of things going on in the world. Whether it's sports, whether it's behind the scenes of sports, whether like predictions of the Yankees' success based on the stuff we talk about here, whether it's Nic Cage updates and predictions on that. How many times? Joey B dropping out of the political race. We called that almost exactly. Almost exactly. We just got like the timing wrong. It was crazy how right we've been on so many things. And I say we because it's all you guys. This is the LPDS universe. We are the LPDS book, sports book, is better than the Vegas sports books. The Vegas odds, what do they call the line makers? Is it the line makers that make the odds makers? We're way better. We are predicting everything. I wish they would just put it out there so that we can bet on it and be all filthy stinker rich. And I could get new camera gear, new tech gear, new stuff, new merch for LPDS, new merch for Spearhead, whatever. We'd be rolling in dough more than Cashman is. Anyway, that's the Cage fact. There you go. Nice little update to start your week, to get your week going. All right, let's move on over to the Junction. We'll spin the logo up. I don't have much today, folks. It's been another week of just grinding and head into the weeds of Spearhead. So I haven't been paying attention to current events. I don't know what's going on. I heard word on the street that we took out the latest ISIS, the latest head of ISIS in Iraq. I haven't looked into that to see how true that is or what the details were. It's fine. It's not. I don't want to say it's a big deal or not a big deal, because it's always good to take out, leaders of bad groups like that, for sure. But also, it's not as big a deal because we've been decimating ISIS, picking them apart for a long time now. So they're down in the dumps. They had a couple years recently to kind of regroup, unfortunately. But I think that's what we're doing now by taking out this guy, is to slow him down again. Be like, hey, you had your fun for the last 3 or 4 years. We're shutting it down again. So that's all I've heard. Some sports stuff. I just been out of the loop on all the stuff I'm normally checking out or paying attention to. I just been honing in on prospecting and trying to build some content stuff for Spearhead and product stuff. And it's one of those things where I'm getting to the point where I need assistance like an employee, but I don't have the ability to compensate that employee right now. So I'm a bit of a catch-22 again. So anyway, we're going to figure it out. But all that's to say is there hasn't been a whole lot going on. Like I mentioned earlier, I had my root canal a week ago, and I'm in the phase now where I have this plastic fake tooth. It's a temporary fake while they build the real one. I don't know if it's going to be veneer or porcelain or what they're going to use as the permanent replacement tooth. But if you're looking in YouTube land, you can't really see. You kind of can, actually. You can see the chiclet tooth is definitely more pronounced than the rest of the teeth. So I try to keep my smiles down right now, especially when I'm out in public, because it is the only reason why I allowed this tooth to be put in is because it's my front tooth. Okay, and I can't go 2 weeks while they're making the permanent replacement. I can't go 2 weeks with no tooth there. Or they have it's really just a snaggle tooth from my real one with the root in there. They just filed it down, and it looks like I can't even explain how bad it looks. It looks like one tooth was dipped in acid. And I can't go 2 weeks like that because I had to film content for Spearhead. And I had to get on calls for Spearhead with prospects and clients and stuff. So I can't be snaggletooth in it. I can't be, lisping. I'll have a bad lisp, probably worse than I already do. I can't look like that. Not that I care about my appearance. If I'm walking out, if it was just me walking outside in life and society, fine, whatever. I'll go snaggletooth. I don't care. It's just 2 weeks. But I need to put out this content, and unfortunately, a lot of times, credibility of somebody is based on visuals. So if I'm coming in there with a snaggletooth in a marketing campaign, I don't think people are going to look and be like, that guy is not for me. That is not a credible person. If that guy can't even afford to get his tooth fixed, which means he's not doing well in his business probably, which means he must not be good at his job, at his craft. So why would I want to why would I waste any time even talking to this snaggletooth troll? And I don't blame them. I wouldn't blame them. So we had to put this temporary in, and it's very crude. It's just like, hey, this looks enough like a tooth that if you keep the camera far enough away, no one will really notice, but I notice and I feel it. It feels fake. It feels like it's a piece of plastic almost. It's a little bit more, what's the term I'm thinking of? Robust, I guess you could say, than just a piece of cheap plastic. But it's like an acrylic plastic. How you doing? It's not glossy or shined up, so it's like a matte white. It looks like a chiclet. It looks like a chiclet that they just kind of shaved a little bit to make it look like a tooth in the shape. They kind of used a file to make it look tooth-like. But it's a definite chiclet. It feels weird in my mouth. I want to pull it out. It feels like something is stuck on my gums that I need to pull out. But it's not a mouthpiece. It's not a mouth guard like I originally thought, where I take it out at night or I take it out and wash it like a retainer or whatever. It's not that. It's not one of those. They glued it in there. They cemented it in there to hold for the 2 weeks until I get the permanent replacement. So I can't take it out. But if I knock it out by accident, that's it. Now I'm snaggletooth again. Unless I could schedule an emergency appointment to go get it cemented back in. And it's sort of fragile. So obviously I can't bite into apples or anything hard with my front teeth. I can't brush my teeth too hard on the front, at least anyway. No chewing gum and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's gonna pull the tooth and we're gonna go snaggle. Now, if I was only doing the LPDS and not spearhead stuff, camera stuff, I would go snaggle. I think it's funny. Like I said, I don't care about my appearance in that regard. Okay? If you want to make fun of me, if you think it looks weird and stupid and trashy, cool. That's none of my business what you think of me. I think it would have been funny. That's why I would have preferred the mouth guard one, because then I could take it out and go snaggle for shits and giggles and then back in for serious stuff. But I guess, it's not worth making that molded mouthpiece for 2 weeks. It doesn't make financial sense. It doesn't make sense at all logistically for the dentist or myself. So I got it. But if it was just spearhead, I'd be snaggling for the next 2 or 3 episodes, snaggled up. No problemo. But unfortunately for everybody here, I have to go chiclet tooth for the next, couple episodes, and then I'll have permanent in there. And I went over to the place to get to the lab that makes them, this tooth lab, and they match the color of my other teeth so that when they make the permanent replacement, it'll be color matched as best as possible. So it'll be tough, really tough for passersby to tell the difference. I'll still probably be able to tell the difference because I know my teeth and I know fake teeth. And obviously I know which one is fake. It's my mouth. They're going to be putting it in my mouth. I'll know which one is the fake one. So subconsciously, it's going to be tough for me to separate from that knowledge, that guilty knowledge. But we'll see how it goes. The lab, by the way, very strange situation. They have to figure out a better how you doing for the dental lab. The whole situation. First of all, the location was in this blue collar factory district, warehouse district. It was just a bunch of small industrial buildings for smaller businesses that own things like excuse me. Sorry, I'm choking on my own spit here. it's the factory districts where you have like kitchen supply companies and furniture suppliers, furniture distribution warehouses for smaller furniture stores, not like the big box places. Woodworking shops, people who are making materials for something else, like tool and die. Like we make hammers, we don't sell them. We make hammers for Craftsman or whatever company, things like that. Some loading and supply and shipping buildings. It's that sort of situation, and it's in the middle of nowhere, outside the city, off the highway, and it's just those buildings, and then it's like a trailer park of people where the rabble live. That's where the dental lab is located for some reason. I guess it's cheap office space, and then you go into the building. Now I get it. All they're there to do, they're not there. They're not a customer service business. They work with the dentists in Houston to make fake teeth, dentures, veneers, one-offs, mouthpieces, whatever. I just had another absolute outburst behind the scenes recording because once again, my camera just keeps cutting. It's doing it again. Just cutting in and out. All right. I had to pause and stop the 5 times in a row. I'm heated. I was off camera dropping absolute bombs that I am glad are not recorded because they were not good. But this camera stuff is really pissing me off lately, and I am even more frustrated because I can't figure out a solution. That's what it is. So I apologize. If you heard any outbursts in the background, I don't know what actually got. I'll find out in post. So I'm going to clean it up. So hopefully you don't hear anything in this portion of the episode because I was heated. Anyway, what the hell are we talking about? The dental lab. They make dentures and fake teeth and veneers and stuff like that. So they just get the orders, and then all they have to do is make the stuff and send it to the dentist's office, the orthodontist, periodont, wherever they have to go. So they don't have to really do a lot of customer-facing services. All they have to do is meet with the person to get color match for individual tooth creation, design, development. Otherwise, if it's a full set of dentures or whatever, they can make whatever color they want. White. So I had to go there to get the color match, and I get in there, and all it is just a bunch of white walls, like empty, no pictures up or anything. There's one banner, there's one pennant, old school felt pennant for the Detroit Pistons in one room of the office space. And then the front desk has nobody there. It has one shelf of a couple of fake teeth on the shelf, like that's their display, and then a bell. And then in the back you can hear filings and machinery going on because they're in the back doing teeth stuff, fake teeth stuff. And you ring the bell and somebody comes out and they have these tools with fake teeth on them with different color shades. It's like the swatches for painting. When you want to color match for paint and pick colors for paint, they have the swatch daddies. That's what it was for teeth. And the guy just puts it up to your mouth. He's like, oh, this one, nope, this one. And he's like, okay, I got it. See ya. But I didn't get a name. I don't know who these people are. They're in masks because they're filing stuff down. So I'm sure there's a lot of dust and stuff, and they're in gloves and they're doing their thing. This would be if they had like refrigerators or freezers in the back, this would be the perfect place to set up shop as a serial killer. It's a very strange, unique profession to get into. It's a profession where you don't have to deal with anybody really in person except for that you take them to that first front room to match colors, and then they're on your. They never have to go in the back anywhere, back area at all to go see what's really going on. And you're working with human parts of sorts. You're doing stuff that it's teeth stuff. So you can have skulls there, and you can easily talk that off as like, oh, we need the skulls to match like how we're gonna fit the teeth in mouth and stuff like that. Like you have all these different plausible deniabilities, if you will, as to why this place is in a weird location. Nothing, everything is strange and uncomfortable feeling. And why do you have teeth and skulls and stuff going on? Everything is all weird. You can go on a serial killing spree for years and hide your bodies and take their teeth out and replace their teeth with your fakes, and no one will know, so that there's no dental records that you can match to identify people. And come to think of it, I wish I was more prepared when I actually went there to maybe snoop around and see, because they very well could have been doing that. They could have had that idea already. I don't know. Maybe the teeth swatches they were using were real teeth from their victims, and it's hiding in plain sight. I'll just use these teeth. You'll never know that this tooth belongs to Gladys, who I picked up 3 years ago, and she's gone. And the only proof of her existence is right here, and it's right next to you, and I'm putting it up to you. And I took her out. I took her down. That's it. The tooth maker. I don't even know what you would call the veneer man. I don't know what is the serial killer name. They always have the name: the Zodiac Killer, the Iceman, the Unabomber. Who, what is this guy's name gonna be? What is his serial killer name? I don't know. The dentures, the mouthpiece. Think of some names. We gotta think of some names for this guy, because it's gonna come out in the news sooner or later. One of them is gonna be caught doing it. He's gonna listen to this and be like, "That's a great idea. I have so many people I've wanted to take out, and I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to get away with it for years." Tooth Fairy? Is that too cliche? I don't know. Anyway, I got my tooth color matched. So hopefully in a few weeks I'll have something that fits better, because this is big too. This is bigger than the normal tooth would be. So I look like I look like half of a beaver. I have half big tooth, one big tooth and one regular human tooth, and it's annoying. So, but the root canal is done. We're making progress in the teeth upgrade category. I'm very impressed. I'm very surprised that it took this long before I needed a root canal on that tooth, given the fact that I got my tooth knocked out back in 2008, and we're here 15 years later. Let's see, 2008, 12, and 5, 17. 17 years later. Pretty good. Usually they said like, oh, within a couple years you'll need a root canal. Back when I got the fake tooth to begin with, the first fake. So glad it took 15 years anyway. That's all that's what's going on in my life. I don't have really any tomato updates to provide. I always hope for tomato updates because I planted the seeds. I got a couple little buds coming out of the pots, which is great. Things are growing, which I love. But I thought I was I thought I was like, oh, we started early, first week of March or whatever, end of February, first week of March, whenever we started. This is going to be great. We're going to do it this year. I go outside to take the dog out last week, and I see through my fence my neighbor, good guy, great guy, older guy. He doesn't put a lot of plants in his garden, a lot of vegetable plants in his garden. Right now, he only has 2 in there. And one is a thing of lettuce or cabbage or something, and the other is a goddamn tomato plant, and it's already a foot tall. Now, I haven't seen him to find out when I don't know if he bought this, because you can buy the plants pre-grown, or if he seeded it himself, or what the deal was. But he is weeks ahead of me, at least a month ahead of me in that category. So I imagine he must have bought the plant when you could buy them at 6 inches high and then put them in the ground yourself. He must have done that. Because in January and most of through February, it was cold weather. It was snowing here at the end of January in Texas, right before I came back down. It was snowing. And it's been cold and bad weather here most of the time ever since. So I don't know when you would start. Maybe he had it inside a greenhouse in his house with the UV light. I have a UV light in mine as well. It's in the garage. That's where predominantly they are. And I bring the pots outside to get used to the environment and the weather. So he could have done that, but damn it, do I feel like a sucker once again. I'm still over a month earlier than I was last year, which is good. And I have a better idea of where I'm going to plant, the separation between the plants, and all that stuff. So, we're still in good shape, but it did hurt. It did take the wind out a little bit. I had to get back into my my mental training, my mental toughness training, and realize like, hey, this is not a setback. You're not competing against anybody but yourself last year. The tomatoes and the gardening that you're competing against is not anybody else in the neighborhood. It's just about your efforts last year. Can you do a little bit better than the year prior? I had to keep reminding myself that. But good for my neighbor Richard over there with a healthy looking tomato plant. He's going to get a couple nice tomatoes soon. I don't know how soon. Sooner than December, though, like what we had last year, but good for him. So I'm going to be happy for him, but also happy for us, too, because we're doing it better than last year. So far, so good. So I'm excited about that. But otherwise, that's all I got going on in the world right now, folks. Spearhead stuff. That's it. Reaching out to law firm owners, seeing what kind of problems they have and where we can help them out. So if you know anybody who owns a small law firm, let me know. I'll reach out to them. I'll bother them. Still working on when I have some more time, which I should soon, and we'll talk about that in several weeks from now or whatever. I'll start putting out the Libretti Leadership Lab on different platforms to kind of provide some, the leadership podcast, the leadership value side of life for you guys if you're interested. But that's all I got today, folks. I feel like it took me at least 2.5 hours to record this episode, which might be only 45 minutes long. I don't know how long it's going to end up being. But let's just say be happy that what you're listening to now is all you're hearing, because I laid a tapestry of curse words and inappropriate verbiage that could get me thrown right in jail, and I'm not proud of it. I'm not, but it is what it is. Before we go, let's talk about this, because obviously I need this in my life, as we all do, I think. Let's talk about the big 3. Really quick, the 3 pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, and be able to spread that positivity and goodness throughout the land to all those around you. Number 1, exercise every day. do something every day to improve your fitness and health physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number 2, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. Avoid the negativity and the shittiness of the world. Don't be a part of it. When the opportunity arises to be shitty or negative or contribute to the shittiness and negativity, take the LPDS step back, detach from those emotions that are driving you towards that, and just omit yourself from the situation. Just don't do anything. Don't engage. Just put your phone down, walk away from the person, whatever it is. Don't engage. Because that way you're minimizing the negativity and shit going on in the world, and you're allowing yourself the capacity to fill that time with more positive, productive things in your lives. And you'll feel better for it. Number 3, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. I just had to do that now. I am grateful that I actually have a phone to record on and a computer, a nice computer, lights, electricity, and stuff. Because in the heat of the moment, I was not grateful for that. I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. But you got to take the time to actively think about the good things you have in your lives and how shitty your life would be like without those things. And that'll put you in the state of gratitude immediately. Immediately. And if you do all these 3 things a little bit each and every day, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, each and every day, I promise you, you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being. You'll be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, put your notifications on, tell your friends and enemies, and hit that hotline, 202-670-1114. Love to get some hotline calls here these days. We can add it to the episodes. 202-670-1114 is the number for the hotline. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.